Sports presents the 2011 Visa Championships in men's gymnastics. We're in the state capital of St. Paul, Minnesota, where the best gymnasts in America have assembled at the home of the Minnesota Wild, the XL Energy Center, to decide who's the best and who will represent the United States in October's World Championships. Hi, everybody. I'm Al Troutwig, along with Olympic gold medalist Tim Daggett, Elfie Schlegel as well, and we'll be hearing from Andrea Joyce. After the first night of competition of two that would decide the men's championship, Cuban-born but made in America, Danel Leyva had a 2-point lead, Elfie, actually a little bit more. What was his career path to that moment on Friday night?
Well, Danel was ready for this championship last year. He told his mom he wanted to win, and she was the one that said, "Be patient, Danel, you're not quite ready." Well, he came to these championships looking very ready. He had great preparation, a string of very successful competitions, but the most important thing that Tim and I saw was his mental strength. He was ready to win.
And what we learned along the way, Tim, is that you can't separate him from that towel. Now, Jonathan Horton had that deficit to contend with in an effort to try and win 3 in a row. What went wrong?
Well, day one, he did what you can't do if you want to repeat. He fell on the pommel horse, which has historically been his weakest event. And, you know, I thought coming into the competition that, you know, 2 points, that's a pretty big margin, but you cannot discount a guy that has already won this championships 2 times. He's the only one that has ever done this in the competition here.
So you have these 2 men getting set to contend for an individual honor, knowing full well that down the road they'll be teammates. And so this rivalry was something to watch. Here is how we called it on Friday night. And as luck would have it, after the major mishap in night 1, Jonathan Horton found himself in the first rotation right back on the pommel horse.
Well, this has always been John's nemesis, without question. He's gotten much better on horse, but this is a nervy event to start on. This is where he had problems and caught his thighs on that pommel just a little bit. Got it going, though.
Jonathan's a competitor. He loves the national championships. He said, "I'm not ready to hand this one over."
So really just the dismount remaining a little tight there. Should fly up to a handstand here.
Got the job done.
Well, he did. He gets a hit for that one, but he knows that there are a few different spots in that routine that, you know, he's going to throw some tenths away, but a stable start for John.
One down.
One of the things John does so well, though, is this dismount flies up to that handstand, does an extra full pirouette at the end, gives him some bonus tenths. But I would say that he handed the judges about 5 tenths that he doesn't need to do.
Getting set to watch one of the Sooners of Oklahoma, Jake Dalton, on his birthday.
Happy birthday, Jake. And this will be big. Scored the highest score on night 1, a 16.8.
Yeah, he does a huge vault. It's a Sukahara. So he'll be flipping backwards, and he does it with 3 twists. Super hard. Very strong ball. Just the smallest hop on that landing. That was better than night 1 right there.
Timmy looked like he was right on that line. Dead center.
We go to Stephen Legendre from Port Jefferson, New York. It's on the north shore of Long Island. And this is an important meet for one of the subplots for a gymnast like him, because out of this competition come the spots for who will represent the United States in Tokyo in October.
That's exactly right, and this is where he really gets to punch his ticket. On this event, it is huge. Handspring, double front, half out. Oh. Very well done.
Okay, how's he going to handle the pressure of being the leader after the first night? We'll be watching him, Danel Leyva, and his dad.
This can be a nice routine for Danel. Starts out something really hard. Double twisting, double somersault. Straight body position. Beautiful. floor is really, in a lot of ways, it's a race against the clock because you have a maximum of 70 seconds to jam in as much difficulty as you can.
And they're tired.
Yeah.
These sets are incredibly difficult. We saw it at the World Championships last year. The guys were just huffing and puffing on that final tumbling pass.
Very nice. He's got a great look while he's out there. Very composed, calm. Double layout for the dismount. Hear that bell means he has 10 seconds to dismount.
What a start.
Yeah, baby. It's a really great American story. When he was only 1½, they left Cuba, somehow got themselves to Peru, and then to America. And how was Dad during that? Danelle says, there's no way I can control him. We'll have more of Friday night's 2011 Visa Championships after this on NBC Sports. We head to the second rotation to determine the 2011 national champion at the Visa Championships, St. Paul, Minnesota. Al Troutwig, Tim Daggett, Elfie Schlegel, Andrea Joyce. And after one round, Danelle Leyva has shown that he really wants this national championship. Meanwhile, Stephen Ledrondra into second place. John Orozco is third. Jake Dalton on his birthday moves up, and Jonathan Horton now has some more coming back to do, trailing by 3.4 on his low-scoring pommel horse routine. Back to the leader, Danelle Leyva.
You know, for Danelle, he had mentioned at the beginning of the competition that he is beyond the hitting stage. He's beyond that. He wants to hit. He knows he can hit. It's about polish as he works his way to the World Championships. He knows that those are the crucial tenths of points that he needs at that level of competition. That's what he's been working on.
That again is his dad, Yin Alvarez. He is actually Danelle's stepfather. And they bring their uniquely American story to these national championships.
In Miami, Florida. Yin says it is, he says it is a fairy tale land. So proud to be able to live in the United States and have his son represent this great country, he says. Always says a prayer before they go, crosses himself, throws him a kiss.
Which he wasn't able to do back home in Cuba.
There's an event where Danelle is not off the charts. It's pommel horse, but so far, great swing.
Really aggressive.
Until the dismount, best routine I have ever seen Danelle do.
That's his mother, Maria.
And he actually calls her the anchor.
His rock.
Yeah.
That's because he listens to her most of the time, as he should.
And this is a little bit of a pause. He's going to get at least 0.3 of a point deduction for that.
It really bummed his father out, didn't it?
But like I said, though, the actual routine until the dismount was by far the best that I have seen Danelle ever do.
Yeah, it really was.
Back to John Orozco.
And this can be a huge routine. Watch this release skill. Beautifully done. There are only a handful of gymnasts that do that in the world, and I've never seen anybody do it with impeccable form like that. Very nice. Beautiful lines. A great exercise for John Orozco. Just a kid, but looked a little bit out of his element day one.
Looked like a veteran right there.
Certainly. Now this is actually named after a great gymnast, Valery Lukin. It's a full twisting hecht over the bar. Very difficult. And like I said, no one keeps their legs together on that.
And this was his last apparatus in day one when he had hurt his leg in the first rotation. He was feeling it on night one, and looks like he's...
Yeah, I got to tell you, that's the only thing that makes me a little cautious
nervous.
Because he is he's a sticking machine, and he doesn't take steps on those dismounts. And
that would have been a good double-double. It's just
so we're going to have to see.
The gymnasts were looking at a replay on the scoreboard. This is Jonathan Horton getting set to mount the still rings. John, after the first rotation, trailed the leader, Danelle Leyva, by 3.4.
But that's a little bit deceiving, because really, pommel horse by far his weakest event. And from here on out, Jonathan Horton is just rocking. His gymnastics is huge on every one of the 5 remaining events, and without doubt has the ability to close that gap considerably. But as I said at the top of the show, for him to actually come out on top, I don't think it's possible at this point,
well,
without Leyva making an error.
And he was nursing his shoulder after the first night of competition. Has a shoulder strain. See how he deals with it.
Next to Brandon Wynn, he is the strongest all-around performer. Actually, he's the strongest ring man in the country after Brandon.
Let's go.
John said his shoulder didn't hurt. He said it just felt really strange. A sensation that he didn't quite understand, and was very cautious about it. Went to the hospital, had an MRI. Everything looks good, but he needs to be careful. Big dismount coming up. He'll do a double backflip with 2 twists right here. Strong routine.
Here's your 2-time national champion, Jonathan Horton.
Shoulder feels better today, man. Good job, John.
That's good to hear.
How is that possible?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Some days you could just wake up and all of a sudden something, it doesn't just hurt, it kills. And the next day you can walk into the gym and it's like, what happened to that?
You actually got lipped. I mean, I'm lucky today. That was awesome.
Danelle Leyva still has the lead. That's going to do it for the second rotation, so he is getting there. 4 more to go on what could be the night of nights for Danelle Leyva. Al Troutwick, Tim Daggett, LT Schlegel, and we'll hear from Andrea Joyce in a moment. But basically, Danelle Leyva gave a little bit back in that second rotation and now leads the kid originally from the Bronx, John Orozco, by 1.5. Jake Dalton's in the mix, so is Stephen Legendre. Jonathan Horton now trails the lead by 2.6. Meanwhile, John Orozco is, and in a sport like this, they're all over the building, a medical miracle. But he is impressive as he moves along here on the high bar and coming down on what was last year a torn Achilles tendon. For more on his story, we go to Andrea Joyce.
Well, you know, Al, so many people were so excited to see John Orozco back in action. I mean, it took him an entire year to recover from that Achilles tear. And then the first night of competition here, a year later, he takes an awkward landing and a tumbling pass. First rotation on the floor exercise. he told me that when he had that awkward landing, his entire career flashed before his eyes. He said to himself, oh no, this can't possibly be happening to me again. And he admitted, you know, he's just 18 years old. He admitted to me that it was a distraction. The pain was a distraction throughout the evening. He was hobbling all night long, but when I saw him today, he gave me a big thumbs up, said it feels a lot better. There's still some pain, but it is manageable. You called him a medical miracle, Al. I think it's the healing powers of an 18-year-old. They do it a little bit quicker than we do, don't you think?
Absolutely. So he's got to be a happy camper. And Tim Daggett, you've got to be so proud of Jonathan Deaton making it here to the senior championship. What level of pride do you have as we get set to see him in our coverage?
Well, it's great. You know, it's you coach a kid like I have Johnny since he was just a very young boy, and you see him get to this level. He came in to the second day as the leader in the juniors, and he got a couple of rough routines out of the way. They're not his best, pommels and rings, but he's going to an event he's great on the ball.
That's the coach, Tim Daggett. We'll see Jonathan Deaton coming up, the man in the lead. Oh boy, he's got to be thinking about it, but the lead is shrinking for Danelle Leyva, the Cuban American, in front. We are back at the XL Energy Center in St. Paul, Minnesota, about to watch Tim Daggett's pupil, Jonathan Deaton, from Massachusetts. So you couldn't leave the kid alone. You had to go over and fill his mind with all these crazy coaching things. It's Jonathan Deaton, who comes from Tim Daggett's gym. What did you tell him?
I just told him that there really are three things that he has to think about when he does a hurdle. Sometimes he doesn't keep his forward momentum going, so I told him you got to push through and then rebound. And John has really strong legs, but sometimes he doesn't absorb on the landing as well as he can. He needs to bend his knees and go for that landing, because he can do it. This is, you know, for a kid, he's great here. He's fantastic on floor, so he's got to get it going here.
15.5 in his first day of competition, Timmy. Not bad at all.
Very good, very good.
You know what's so impressive about this kid, Al? We were watching him, Andrea Joyce, Nancy Roach and I sat in the audience. We were cheering him on. He's clean. He's got great lines, execution, and that's because of a great coach who stresses the importance of good gymnastics.
So he's going to do what's called a Yurchenko with a double twist. Remember, he's got to push forward here, right here. And...
Take that.
We haven't seen a lot of stick landings here.
There you go, baby. I told him how to do that, John. Jonathan Horton just came up here to talk some trash with me. That's how you do it, Jonathan.
That was awesome.
You gotta love it.
So he does a good push forward, a little bit high on the table, but this is Gymnastics 101 right there. Oh,
you do rival Yin Alvarez for yeah, for sure.
Fun.
For sure. Nicely done.
I love the gymnasts on the floor, Tim. I mean, everybody knew exactly what was going on and that you were the man.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Now, Danelle Leyva, after the second rotation, in first, but by 1.5.
And if Danelle can survive rings, he's good on rings, 14.45 in the first day of competition, but he will cruise through this competition because in the last half, he is fantastic on the remaining 3 events.
So let's look at the strength positions. He usually holds them long enough. It's just whether he is exactly level. First one will come up right off the top. This is an iron cross. Little bit high. I'm going to go with a 10th high.
Remember, holding these strength positions for 2 full seconds.
So watch this right here. Very difficult. One of only a handful of gymnasts who can really do that element. Danelle gets most of his bonus points from those swinging elements. Beautiful giant to handstand. Has a dismount. He does a full twisting double layout. Oh, geez.
So close.
Well, that was good. That was good. But I tell you, that should have been a stuck landing right there.
I tell you guys, it's one of my favorite gymnastics stories since Yuki Tomita and his father brought that dream to bring a medal to the United States, to leave Cuba, come here, and now be competing under the American flag for a national championship is just about as good as it gets.
3 in a row, and this one in the straight body position. Super tricky. And you know, the dismount, it was great in the air, beautiful form, body position. Just needed to be a little more patient, stay down a little bit. He stood up a little quickly. Can't see it there, but slid his feet back.
I love it. It's always the same routine. It's great.
He does a lot of spinning. I gotta videotape him and work on my style.
And he can't get to that lucky towel fast enough. And we should all be excited for what we're about to see on still rings, correct?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, look at him. He's a monster. I mean, this guy is like, I mean, I said to him the other day, he took it the wrong way. I said, you look like you are going to explode out of your skin. And he said, what do you mean? What do you mean? And I was like, I mean, he is so cut. All these guys are very cut, but he is alien strong.
But this is how all of the top ring workers in the world look.
He's
alien
strong.
What
are you saying? He doesn't have a 6-pack, he's got a 12-pack?
Well, he might have a 14-pack.
But for Brandon, on the first night out, 15.75 was the high score.
He is the NCAA still rings champion 2 years running.
My only criticism about this routine, and it's something that, you know, I think that this guy right here, new coach at Ohio State, Rustam Sharipov, he'll help him. He makes things, he does incredibly hard things, but it looks hard when he does it. He really grimaces, and he needs to learn how to just relax his face. He's just getting started with strength. Many athletes are done after 2 strength parts. Very level inverted cross. He actually is doing much better today on that criticism that I had. Not making it look quite so hard.
I'll say one thing, those rings are still.
Yes, they are. Little bit bent elbows in that handstand. That'll cost him a bit. Also has a big dismount, same as John Horton. 2 flips, 2 twists. We call it a double-double in gymnastics. Big hop forward. And, you know, it's great. It's going to get a very big score.
Coming up, Jonathan Horton mounts the vault and makes a major statement that this 2011 Visa Men's Championship is far from over. Earlier in St. Paul, Minnesota, Chris Brooks had a major mishap on pommel horse. Now he's on the vault.
And this is a huge challenge for Chris. It's the 2nd time he will be performing this vault in his life. He sat it down day 1. But this is super hard. We saw the same vault from Steven Legendre. Chris actually explodes a little bit better off the table, but he's got to put it to his feet. And, you know, really, right there, that left ankle, that's the thing that's standing in his way, because if he lands, it's going to hurt.
No.
Yep. I'm not sure. I don't.
Huge.
It was huge, but
just can't find the ground.
No, give me a break. I just really think that when you've got bad feet like that, that vault is just it is punishing
like 50 feet in the air, man.
on the body.
What do I do with it?
Yeah, it's
he's
like
frustrated.
1,000 of them or something?
he's talking to the men's coordinator, Kevin Majika, the equivalent to Marta Caroli on the men's side. But it was huge. Just jettisons his body in the air and has plenty of time, but his hips completely closed. That means he piked in his hips when he landed, and there's no way you can put it to your feet. Tom Meadows.
Yeah, he's frustrated too.
That's 2 days in a row.
Something about Chris Brooks, boy, you always know how he's feeling. He is not shy about telling you what's just happened in his gymnastics.
Chris Brooks, 15.25 on the vault.
With the Achilles tendon injury for Roscoe last year, this event right here is by far the most challenging. And as we heard from Andrea, he tweaked it on one of his major tumbling runs. Actually, floor used to be John's best event, and that is the pass that bothered him day one.
Every once in a while, a gymnast will do something, and I think to myself, are you kidding me?
John actually looks much better today. He doesn't look as out of sorts.
Well, it was amazing, wasn't it, Tim, after the first night? After he started on floor exercise, to watch him limp around the arena. We felt for him.
Yeah.
With every landing.
As I've said, one of his strengths is his ability to land. And he did a much better job with this routine. We'll get a better score than night one.
He's limping a little bit.
Yeah, there's no way he's not going to be limping after doing a floor routine like that, you know. Just like, you know, in the NFL or NBA, these guys, they are used to playing in pain. It's a reality for them. They know it, and they know how to deal with it.
Right behind John Orozco in 5th place after the second rotation is the two-time Visa national champion, Jonathan Horton.
Scored a 16.05 in the first night of competition. It's a new vault for John, and he credits Chris Brooks motivating him to do this vault. Of course, he's his training partner, does the same vault.
Same vault we saw from Brooks, but he needs to delete the landing. And that was really good, really good.
What made it so good?
Oh, it's just way better landing than night one. His chest is up higher on it. It actually looked easy. He looked far more confident. Going to get a much better score than he did the first day of competition. Scored a 16.05 day one. Had over a point in deductions. But the only thing that was scary, he was so off to the right-hand side of the board here. You see his feet almost off the edge there. But then he spots the ground. Look at him looking at it right there. Only thing that's a little shaky there when we're looking at it in slow motion is he doesn't get his twist completely around. I think he'll be fine on it. Lot to get done. As we've said, 3 revolutions in the air, and the last one's got a half twist on it. Just the small hop on the landing.
Certainly helps his confidence now performing it twice.
So Leyva gets a 14.2 on the rings. Orozco 14.75 floor exercise. And Jonathan Horton, you are moving on up. 16.7. That moves him into the 2nd position. So it's Leyva,
Let's go, RJ!
Horton, and Orozco.
Put it on your feet! Let's go, RJ! Finish it!
Jonathan Horton has flipped this competition upside down, and he trails the lead of Danell Leyva, which once was over 2 points, by 1/10. That's a little hop. That's a little skip. John Orozco remains on the podium, down by 0.95. Tim, he's never been in a spot like this, but I guess this is how champions show themselves.
Well, he has been living this moment his entire life, picturing himself not just winning a national title like he, I believe, will do if he has 3 clean routines from here on out. This is a new vault for him, though. Horton looks on. Oh, and that was not so good. He was almost perfect on it. Night 1, but Yin's lying there.
Yeah,
that's
didn't see the big hops from Coach Alvarez.
So he just doesn't really meet the ground as well as he needed to here. And one step, another step, and technically, I guess we're just going to call that 2 steps, but really good in the air. But just doesn't, like I said, he is not ready for the ground.
What do you think of 15.45?
Well, he thinks not good. That's 3/10 less than he scored in night 1. So really, I would say that is the first place that we've seen Danell Leyva open the door this entire championships. Right there, he gave something away that he shouldn't.
Now Steve Legendre.
This might be one of the most, well, it certainly is one of the most impressive routines in all of the Visa Championships, men and women. He is ginormously powerful on floor.
2-time world finalist on this exercise.
Oh, jeez. Makes everything look so easy. And remember, this is his strength. This is where he has to show the committee that he can really contribute to Team USA. And really, his biggest competitor is his teammate, Jake Dalton, who excels on the same dang events.
Steve was just shy of a 16.0 on this apparatus in the first night of competition. 15.95, that's a big score.
A little sloppy there, that's unusual. Tricky dismount, it's a blind landing. Most of his are. Big hop, close to that line. The judge takes a look and decides not to raise that yellow flag, which would have cost him either 1 or 3/10.
Jonathan Horton's response on the parallel bars coming up. When you consider all the judges, all the competitors, and all the routines, and the many thousands of different permutations that could go into things, you almost can't believe what is about to happen here. John Orozco, he's thinking podium at this point. We'll get to the Jonathan Horton numerical story in a moment.
This is his most important routine of the competition right here.
And it was disastrous for him on the first day.
But if he hits this routine right here, little error there, he is going to be on the 2011 World Team. He fell at the end of this sequence right here. No problem today. And a big routine for John Orozco. And I got to tell you that right there, like I said, I think that does it. Doesn't matter where he finishes in the all-around.
Because it was on the pommel horse.
Because it was on the pommel horse, and Team USA needs that routine right there.
Desperately. John says he doesn't like to make excuses, but on the first day after he injured his leg slightly, he said it distracted him.
That's an excuse.
Okay, so here's the deal with Jonathan Horton. He's in second place. He needs 15.45 to take the lead from Daniel Leyva. So you think, okay, what kind of a number is Jonathan Horton capable of on this apparatus at an event like this? Guess what he got on night one? A 15.45.
Very nice. He's improved that element tremendously. Watch this. Big release. Beautiful. Another big release. This is about as clean as I have ever seen Jonathan on the parallel bars. Just got to be calm on this. Wait for the landing. Little bit over on that. Up until there, though, dang near flawless.
Daniel Leyva out from under the towel. He went first in this rotation. Stumbled.
Oh, that landing.
On the landing as Jonathan Horton laments his.
But this very difficult. Nice double back somersault. Kind of misses his hand a little bit. But when you're a veteran, you just take that all in stride. He just doesn't get upright. Look, his chest is down a little bit, and he sticks his hips out as he's landing, which causes him to take those steps back.
You know, Jonathan watched every single one of Daniel's performances on night one of the competition, but Daniel has been covered by that towel. I don't think he's been watching Jonathan.
Yeah, I would say that dismount right there cost him, I don't know, 4 or 5/10 of a point.
Certainly shouldn't be as high as 15.45.
It's going to be very close. Yeah, see
that number.
You heard Chris Brooks talking about a 15-1 from Orozco. Big because it was on the pommel.
While Jonathan Horton's going to have to wait to take over the lead. He gets a 15.25.
This was the biggest number in the first night of competition by Jake Dalton, 16.1.
He is so powerful. I remember seeing this kid about 4 years ago at the Junior Nationals out, and I couldn't believe how put together he was. So strong and just it crushes the floor when he hits it. Creates so much force into the ground, and that, of course, catapults him up into the air. Very nice to see him open up his body right before that roll. That's a requirement now to get away with that without a deduction.
And more than the power, it's the landings of all these tumbling passes. Very impressive.
He sticks this, it's going to be a gigantic number. Triple twist. Oh, just the smallest little hop forward, but wow. I don't really see how they can put a team together and not have him on it the way he has performed here. He's just too valuable.
That is going to do it for rotation 4. And so this battle for the man under the towel, Daniel Leyva, and Jonathan Horton going for 3 in a row is coming down to 2 final routines. In St. Paul, Minnesota, the 2011 Visa Championships continue. We're starting to get a sense of who might represent the United States at the World Championships, but we have no idea who's going to be today's national champion. Daniel Leyva has to be relieved. A stumble on his landing on the vault did not give away first place. Jonathan Horton misses on his dismount and actually loses ground and trails by 2/10. Stephen Legendre right now is on the podium, but it's been a very strong day for Jake Dalton, who who got a 16.25 on floor exercise. Back to Alex Nador.
And that pommel horse guy I'm talking about is this guy right here. The most important routine of his entire Visa Championships.
Had the high score on night one, a 15.4, and he said, boy, did I feel the pressure.
Watch this right here. It's a full twisting kier. Very difficult. Great rhythm. Excellent form, super difficulty. And very square body. If your body isn't square when you're doing these travels across the horse, you can really get deductions. Wow, that is big.
Yeah.
Big, big, big.
So you liked it?
Yes.
How good does this guy feel right now?
And, you know, he says, hey, when we're talking to him yesterday, and he says, yeah, I'm an all-around gymnast. I want to contribute. I wish people wouldn't just talk about pommel horse, but he said, I know that for me to make it,
Yeah.
pommel horse is far and away the critical event for me.
His goal tonight was not just to stay on for a second time, but to blow it out of the park.
Sometimes the hugs just seem a little bit more special. You could tell everybody knew that he had to go up there and nail that, and he did. Back to Chris Brooks. His heat part of the championship picture.
I would tell you, he did not do himself any favors here tonight. The fall on the pommel horse, and maybe more damaging was him not being able to put that vault to his feet. Tremendous potential, but 2 falls, day 1 and day 2. He was a world finalist on this event.
Talk about big performances. This has the potential. Big skills like that.
Beautiful combination.
It's what the crowd appreciates.
Watch this right here. Another great release. The problem is that his best event is high bar right here, and he is truly fantastic on this event. But 2 guys that are going to be on that team regardless are Jonathan Horton and Danelle Leva, and they're actually a little better.
Good for him.
That was fantastic. That was fantastic.
Put on a great show.
That's Chris Brooks. There you go, man. Nice job. Good job. Good job. Good. Well done. Nice smile.
And this done in combination right here gets extra bonus tense, opens his body. Very beautiful. That's called a Kovacs. And this is Gymnastics 101. Fly high and don't move when you land. And a guttural scream. That's important too.
Coming up, the Leva-Horton showdown reaches its critical point. Well, every time we move around the room here, we just get to say it's the biggest routine of Danelle Leva's life, and that's the way it's going to be for the next 2 for him. And how about this? They're both chalking up at the same time. There's number 1 and number 2 directly across the XL Energy Center. The separation is 0.2.
And these guys are so great on these last 2 events, but they also are, because they're so great, their difficulty level and the risk is huge. John has to catch the bar on 4 major releases. And Danelle, he does just about everything in the book on parallel bars.
And he did that on night 1. He had the high score. It was a 16.2.
They'll hold Jonathan Horton as Danelle Leva mounts the P-bars.
Beautiful underbar work. Look at that. Oh, This is fantastic. Fantastic.
Oh, baby!
There's Mom.
Mama always gets the second kiss.
Yeah. That, you know what? I mean, that was unbelievable. That was really great. That's world-class parallel bars right there. Remember, I said that he has got 4 major releases to contend with in this routine. And it all goes crazy right here.
Oh, no. Oh.
He just did not get that right arm back to the bar fast enough. A super hard release skill called a Cassina, named after the Olympic champion from Italy.
About 40 feet away moments ago, he watched Danel Leyva pretty much nail it with a big number, and here he is just seconds removed from that.
Well, that ball alone cost him a point-and-a-half. Very nice. This is his last release. Got to grab the bar. No problem. His dismount. Hop on the landing, but it is mathematically impossible for John Horton to be leading after this round.
John, I love you. Came back strong.
And a third straight national championship goes Kersplat.
Huge air on the first release. Gonna fly in the air, do a back laid out somersault with a full twist, and watch, he just doesn't complete the twist fast enough. Look at that right arm. He just misses it on the bar. So look at that right hand. It slides, actually both of them slide right over the top of the bar. Maybe needed to lift his head a little bit earlier so he could visually see the bar. And
here's Danel Leyva watching. There are a lot of emotions flowing around there.
And, you know, I mean, that is a legitimate feeling for Leyva. He doesn't want to win this championships by having John falter.
After 5 rotations, he is in front of Jonathan Horton by 2.05. And then John Orozco right now, at least, is on the podium, and who knows, probably headed to Tokyo to represent the United States of America. Jonathan Horton needs a 15.0, certainly very doable, to take over second place from John Orozco.
Scored 15-1 on floor, night 1. Does a very interesting first tumbling run, combination pass that goes into a very tricky full twisting front 1 3/4, so he'll roll out of it like a diver right here. Nice. Got to be patient on his landings, and that was great.
Very focused.
Very good. It's the best I've ever seen John Horton look on floor exercise. He's always typically a little bit jumpy, doesn't take his time with landings sometimes. But this has been very, very good in that department. 2 flips, 1 twist, and his visas are complete.
Gonna get that score and then some.
It's like that fall never happened.
He's pointing at me.
Yeah.
He's pointing at me because he has a pass that he never sticks, and I give him a hard time about it all the time. It's one of his easiest passes in his routine, and that's the first time I've ever seen Jonathan Horton do it.
That's sick, man.
My teammate.
But that was very good.
Now this is it. It's only the first major step in the dream, but it's a big part of it. Danel Leyva with his dad on the verge of winning a national championship in the United States of America.
And buckle up, people.
Dad with his son. They've talked about it for years.
This is a crazy hard routine. First big release right here. Flip over the bar. Watch this. Beautiful. Another one right here. Very nice. Now this is really cool. Watch this. He'll explode and hop his hands.
Love it.
Stuck this cold day 1. There is your 2011 National Gymnastics Champion. A dream come true for Danel and Dad.
Family hug. Family hug. Family hug.
Hi, Donnie. You better get over here, man. Congratulations, man. You're a boss, dude. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. That's what we need with Team USA. All right? Man. So 12 for 12. Rematch at Worlds.
Universal is the thing.
It's always a rematch. Hey, but you're my teammate.
Yeah, we are. Oh, yeah.
So fucking good. Thanks a lot, man.
This is about USA team, not about anybody. USA team.
That was sick, man. Good job.
USA team is nobody.
Love you, John.
This is USA team.
Scored a 16-9 the first night. Look at this release right here. A full twisting hecked over the bar. Very difficult. And the dismount. Double twisting, double somersault in the laid out position. Not quite as good as day 1, but well good enough for the championship.
You had to love. Family hook.
Beautiful moment. Doesn't get old, does it?
Yes, so.
So the American national champion comes from Cuba. Jake Dalton, future teammate as well, 6th after the 5th rotation.
And he says because he knows he's so good on floor and vault. He says that the still rings is the most critical event for him being chosen onto the world team, because there are guys like Brandon Wynn or CJ Maesta who got a huge score on rings.
And he said, I can be better than I was on night one. Only a 14.3. That's what he scored.
Very solid routine, doesn't give away a lot, not the biggest level of difficulty, but respectable. His dismount is a double back with 1.5 twist, flying landing, makes it tricky. Oh, just a small hop. But I would have to say, for this guy, I would say mission accomplished.
Our national champion continues his celebration. Yet we think some tears will be shed. And so it turns out to be a first ever Visa championship for Cuban-born Danelle Leyva. Jonathan Horton made it very interesting, to be sure. And John Orozco from the Bronx to St. Paul, and now headed most likely to Tokyo. After the competition was over and just before receiving his gold medal, Danelle Leyva spoke to Andrea Joyce.
He's told us more than once that this really is a dream of a lifetime. You've had about 5 minutes for this to sink in. Can you describe what this moment is like for you to be standing here as the national champion?
No, I can't. I mean, it's amazing. You know, I'm as happy as anybody would be. You know, it's great. It's like you said, it's a dream come true.
Now, you spent a lot of time under that towel tonight. What was going on under there, and did you know how close this competition got after the third and fourth rotation?
Yeah, you know, mostly I just sit down and calm down. You know, I don't like getting myself too hyped up, and that's what I do. I just, you know, take a couple of deep breaths, and yeah, it works.
Well, it worked for you. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
All right, back to you, Al.
All right, Andrea, joining us now is Jonathan Horton. And Jonathan, when you got to within 1/10, did you think that momentum was on your side?
Yeah, I definitely felt the momentum. I was having a great competition up to that point, and I'm a score watcher. I was always looking up at the board. I knew exactly where I was, and, you know, I was really trying to push hard. I was trying to do some great routines. Unfortunately, had a little slip on high bar, but that's gymnastics. That's how it goes sometimes.
You know, John, you say that it's really good for you and for the team to have a young guy like Danelle right on your tail, but it has to sting just a little bit. You could have been the first one since Paul Hamm to go 3 in a row.
Yeah, it's disappointing, but like somebody asked me the other night, they said, do you think this is a step back? I said, absolutely not. This is a step forward for the United States team. We have some new guys coming up, some great talent. I think we have an incredible depth on our team, probably the most talented team I've ever been a part of in many years. So I'm just excited about what the future has in store for this team in general. I feel much more confident about my own gymnastics, and we now have a new national champion that we can all count on.
And John, talking about the future, you and Danelle lead this team to the World Championships in Tokyo in October. So realistically, you looked around the arena, you saw the talent. What are USA's chances there?
I think we have a great shot. I think we don't go into a competition hoping for second or third place. That's just not our personality. That's not what we work for. We go in to win, and we're firm believers that we can win the world title. And we've got a lot of strengths. We've got a couple weaknesses on maybe on rings, potentially floor, but everywhere else we're world class. And the rest of the world sees that. They know what we're capable of. And I'm just excited to get out there with this new team and show everyone what we're capable of.
John, we're looking from the outside in, and we fall in love with a story like Danelle Leyva. It seems so American to have a kid born in Cuba to come to this country and win a championship. What is your take on that?
I mean, absolutely. It's a great story. He's an incredible kid, and just everything that he's been through, you know, his father and his mother, you know, it really is a great story. And he's such a hard worker. You know, I'm extremely proud of him and everything that he was able to accomplish. And, you know, a lot of people will look at Danelle and go, man, he doesn't really have the typical gymnast body. But he's such a hard worker, and he's just done such a great job in the gym. I'm really proud of him.
Really critical zone in on exactly what you need to do and what Team USA needs to do to not just make it on that podium, but like you said, you're not just trying to get up there, you want to be at the top of it. What has to happen between now and Tokyo?
Consistency. We have to be able to go out and hit every single one of our routines. There's 18 routines that will be competing in a 3-count format on 6 events. And if we can go out there and be the team that doesn't have a single mistake, I think we can push Japan and China and Germany for that #1 spot. And I think that's really the name of the game, who can be the most consistent team.
Jonathan, thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We'll be watching Jonathan Horton and Team USA as they compete in the World Championships from Tokyo, Japan in October on Universal Sports and NBC Sports. Coming up, except on the West Coast, it's your local news. Then tonight, starting at 7/6 Central, it's an all-new Dateline. Sunday Night Football is back. Tony Romo and the Cowboys take on the high-powered Chargers. This is Al Troutwick for Elfie Schlegel, Tim Daggett, and Andrea Joyce. You've been watching the Visa Championships on NBC Sports.